Well, Trump is still trying to win over the Republican Party and the GOP base. According, though, to a new NBC News poll, he's gaining traction. Look at these numbers. Now, this shows Republicans trusting the Donald to lead the party more than they trust the Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. And if you look at the numbers, not even close here. Shocked me. Let's see if it shocked our panel. We're joined by Jessica Proud. Jessica's a Republican strategist and expert with the November team. Dominic Carter, of course, our political journalist and author. Giancarlo Parasuti, he's a former aide to President George H.W. Bush. And Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent. First of all, the numbers. Do they surprise you at all in that who do you trust to lead the party more? No. They go by 20 points with Trump over Ryan.
No, and I'll echo Paul Ryan's statement. The Republican Party just selected Donald Trump as its nominee, so I would hope that those numbers are a lot stronger for him. Paul Ryan isn't running for president. I don't know why we're asking these crazy questions.
Well, up until less than a month ago, he was never clocking more than 40% in a state. It's
yeah,
not
but
like
you're comparing Donald Trump, who just ran for president and is our presumptive nominee, versus someone that didn't even run. So, you know, Paul Ryan, I think this is a process with the party coming together, and I think Paul Ryan has always made it very clear that A, he wasn't interested in running, and B, he cares very much about the issues. He comes out of that Jack Kemp world, and he wants to set the agenda for the House and the Senate to run on.
Well,
He's
let's be clear.
Driving the
let's be clear.
and
a lot of
Republicans,
or at least some Republicans, have certainly felt comfortable enough to endorse Donald Trump. Paul Ryan isn't one of them. A very good friend of yours here, in fact, Bill O'Reilly, okay, the good Bill O'Reilly, as we like to say, has abdicated, has left the Republican Party, a party of which he's been a member of his entire adult life. He won't go for Trump. I just interviewed Christy Todd Whitman, okay? Yeah. Not only Republican governor of New Jersey, member of the Bush administration, etc. She's willing to vote for Hillary Clinton over Donald Trump. My point is, this party coming together, is it really?
It's a process, and we just came out of a very bruising primary with 17 candidates.
Well
and
into
Donald
May.
Trump, yeah, but we just it's only been a couple of weeks since he really locked up the nomination. But, you know, look, this is happening on the Democratic side as well. 30% of Bernie supporters said that they would never support Hillary. So this is not an anomaly, but it takes time. Donald Trump came out of nowhere and completely rocked the entire party. So it's not just going to happen overnight.
Okay. She mentioned Giancarlo, the Democrats, and there certainly is, I wouldn't say a house divided, but you've got the Bernie supporters who are not doing a warm embrace of Hillary. But as we saw 8 years ago, nobody thought at the end of the day Hillary supporters weren't going to come around for Obama, and they did. Moreover, nobody thinks that Bernie Sanders won't be at the convention. Nobody thinks that we can name any Democratic nominee, let alone elected president, that won't be in Philadelphia for the convention. Your old boss, his dad.
Both my old bosses.
Yeah, both your old bosses. The former nominee, the last nominee of the Republican Party, they're not showing up in Cleveland. You got a lot of folks who say, I don't even recognize this guy. Bob Gates, who we all, I think, respect here, who served under, I don't know, more than a half a dozen administrations of different political parties. He doesn't believe this guy's got the capacity to be, you know, commander-in-chief, let alone, as I said to Chris Todd Whitman, have his finger on launch codes, and a whole other bunch of people that I could take the hour to say. She says it's a process and they're all coming together. You buy that?
I do. I think it is a process. And in terms of when are we going to come together, we might not come together as a party before Donald Trump has an opportunity to have people vote for him, but we'll come together at some point. Look, there's an undercurrent here. There's sort of a secondary storyline in this primary. And that is, and I think we talked about this before on this show, for the last two presidential elections, the right wing of the party has had to swallow what they were told was the most electable nominee. And both times, first McCain, then Romney, that candidate lost. The right wing rubbed it in the face of the establishment and said, see, if only you had elected our guy, we wouldn't have lost 2 consecutive elections. So now, we're calling their bluff, and we have the opportunity to nominate someone from the fringe that has a populist and, dare I say, conservative appeal to be the nominee of the party. And so we're going to put that thesis to the test. I happen to believe it's going to be a colossal failure, and I happen to believe that on the second week of November, Republicans around the country will be scratching their heads and having the same conversation that Democrats had in 1988, where they said, okay, we're now 0 for 3. Maybe we really should get serious about what everyone's been telling us we need to do as a party to get our act together and to field a winning team.
Okay.
That's when the party will come together.
Everything that he said makes a ton of sense except for one thing. That would have made sense if Ted Cruz was the nominee.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because the conservatives said, stop telling me I got to pick some moderate here. Stop telling me I got to pick somebody that I don't agree with where they stand on X, Y, and Z on social issues. Give me the red meat guy. Cruz, now I love what Lindsey Graham said. If he was shot on the Senate floor, they'd never solve it because there'd be too many suspects, okay, because he was that hated. Donald Trump is more progressive on stuff than was McCain and even Romney. Who knows?
But he still got that element of the vote. I agree with everything you said, and you're right. That is the flaw with my argument. However, conservatives voted for Trump. He was their candidate. The data's there. It's proven.
I think it's in part because conservatives have come away from the last recent national elections, both for the presidency and for the House and the Senate, and really felt like they got nothing out of it. They've elected lawmakers and elected nominees who they said would project a conservative agenda, but that agenda has been blocked in Congress, hasn't really gotten the traction that a lot of them thought that they would. Look at the trend on social issues, and the progress has been to the left, not to the right. So conservative voters, I can understand being frustrated out there. The only conservative notion that's gotten any play in Washington has been economic, and that's I can understand a lot of conservative voters feeling left out.
Well, I'll just say really quickly, I think there was so much emphasis after the last election. We did this whole autopsy report on the voters that we didn't get. And there was a big gender gap, and there was obviously a gap with minorities. And there was a lot of emphasis placed on how we get those voters and bring them into the party. But we completely...
This is a really interesting theory that Trump's done for that, yeah.
But we completely forgot and have abandoned the blue-collar, mostly white worker that were either Reagan Democrats or part of the party at one point. They were what Trump refers to as the silent majority, but they felt really left behind. And all of a sudden, Trump came on the scene, and a little bit of Bernie Sanders, and has given them a voice. Yeah. But we really, as a party, should have been paying attention to those voters all along.
Okay, I get the Reagan Democrat, Dom, that could be in play. I believe it. But those same conservatives who felt excluded for the last few election cycles, and even when they voted the way that they were told, they never got what they wanted. Here's my question. Donald Trump's going to have to, now that there's only 2 people left, when he does the interviews, maybe with Megyn Kelly tonight, he's going to say, yeah, I like Planned Parenthood, okay? He's going to probably get asked his position in terms of transgender. We know how Republicans feel about it in North Carolina and a few other states here, right? And he's going to say, yeah, you know what, Jenner, she can use my bathroom. How's that going to play with the same conservatives, right, who have been hating the establishment, telling women what to do, and all of a sudden they say, wait a minute, is this guy some New York City liberal? This isn't, I know him from The Apprentice, but I didn't realize he believed in this stuff.
Well, how it's going to play, and I agree with the assessments that's been made thus far, it's a process, and the media always wants the story of division within the party, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and every single time the parties unite and stand behind the nominee, no matter who that individual is. So now, to answer your question directly, we've already seen where some conservatives are not on board with Team Trump. So what? At the end of the day, those same conservatives want to win. They want to win. And right now, whether we like it or not, Donald Trump is in a good position to potentially win.
Okay, but they want to win, but do they worry about if winning is losing? And by that I mean, there are people I respect who would say to me, you know what, I hate Hillary Clinton, but I don't trust that guy in the White House. It's not an entertainment game. It's not, reality show. We are entering possibly the next 4 years. We all know, I don't have to tell you 4 guys, about what will emerge out of the Middle East. What's going to happen with possibly another bubble in the economy? What's going to happen with all the other things that I talk about? And Donald Trump's going to be the guy that's going to try and lead sober policy at that time?
I think you just forecasted one of the lines of attack that one of the many lines of attack that Hillary Clinton's going to use in the fall campaign. It's what you just said. She's going to try to sow enough doubt and try to dredge up enough clips of Donald Trump saying stupid stuff to cause fear, uncertainty, and doubt into the hearts of as many undecided voters as she can. I mean, this will be one of, I feel like we say this every election.
Yeah.
This will truly be one of the ugliest elections we have ever seen, unfortunately.
Absolutely. And then I was just going to say really quickly that, you know, it'll be very interesting to see which narrative becomes the overriding one, because you have her casting doubt, but in a lot of ways she represents continuity. She's more of the same from Obama and the same political system, when voters really are this year clamoring for change. So whatever they find at the end of the day to be the most important thing, I think, is who will win.
And really quickly, you think we'll be surprised more by who doesn't in the end endorse Trump before Cleveland, or who does?
You know, I think people are just kind of waiting to see what happens and how he conducts himself in a general election. And I don't know that he needs the endorsements.
Maybe not.
I don't think
Maybe
it
not.
matters. It doesn't matter.
So.
Coming up next, we're going to look at the Democrats, and they got their own issues. Hillary, she can't shake Bernie, but she's really going after Trump as we speak. Is this a good or a bad strategy? We'll discuss.